Alright everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is the Jordan Report and I am your host, Robert Jordan. Everyone, please remember to like, subscribe, and share. Alright, I'm going to talk about the homeless problem out in California. I'm a native of California, born and raised in Los Angeles. So I know a whole bunch about how this problem happened, how it all came about. And I'm going to go through an LA Times article, and then I'm going to go through another article about Oakland's homeless problem and their large homeless encampments. Then I'm going to show you some footage of some of these encampments. They're incredible. You're going to want to hang around and see that. It's just unbelievable what California has done to itself. California was such a beautiful place. But we're going to start in the LA Times article. Okay, these two people here that you see here, these are black Los Angelenos. One is Michelle Vaughn, she's 24, and Edwin Williams, 31, live in an African-American homeless encampment under the Ronald Reagan Freeway in Pacoima. Many of the residents were displaced from homes their parents owned in the 1950s and 60s. We're going to start right here. Locked out of LA's white neighborhoods, they built a black suburb. Now they're homeless. Dwayne Purefax grew up after World War II in Pacoima, one of the few Los Angeles suburbs that offered the American dream of home ownership to African Americans who had been locked out of other neighborhoods by racial covenants. His stepfather worked for Lockheed Martin to support his family at 15. His sister worked at General Motors plant in Van Nuys. She bought one of the Joe Louis homes, no relation to the revered black boxing icon. But his name still drew African Americans fleeing lynchings and Jim Crow laws in the South to the row of boxy houses. California was full of manufacturing at the time, so a lot of black people came up from the South and got these manufacturing jobs, and they lived comfortable middle-class lives. They were able to settle some of these places like Pacoima, Pomona. I know this because that's what my family did. But the 1990s brought deindustrialization, the crack cocaine epidemic, and mass incarceration. With the advent of fair housing laws, some black people moved to other San Fernando Valley communities and beyond. But many African American families in Pacoima lost their homes as a result of those societal forces. Only partly true, and I'll show you what I'm saying. Now, Purefax 62 and 4 dozen other, mostly African American people, live a few miles away in a flotilla of tents under the Ronald Reagan Freeway. I just showed you that. The giant encampment is a stark illustration of the racial disparity among homeless people that Los Angeles and cities across California are just starting to recognize and address. All the cities in California are facing this. And it's not a coincidence. It's their policy that's creating it. These cities were all beautiful, from one tip of California to the other, from Sacramento all the way to San Diego. Their cities were beautiful when I was a young person. In LA County, African Americans are 9% of the population, but 40% of the homeless population. And 2/3 of them live outside. Let me say that again. In LA County, African Americans are 9% of the population, but 40% of the homeless population, and 2/3 of them live outside. Now, you would think their leaders would be screaming from the rooftops, right? This is Maxine Waters' home. She lives here. She knows this. You don't hear anything of them about black people being homeless in Los Angeles, do you? The poverty rate among black Angelenos does not fully account for the racial gap. This is not unique to LA, but it's particularly uncomfortable in a liberal city with a painful racial history, including the police beating of Rodney King and 2 riots. The story of the debacle of the black middle class has been taken out of conversation, and the onus is on the pathology of the individual, said Suzette Shaw, a Skid Row activist and member of an advisory committee for the report. Workforce redlining, housing redlining has systematically displaced us. That's not what happened to black people in Los Angeles. What happened was these people bought in 2 million illegal aliens that flooded these people out of their neighborhoods, and I'll show you that. The same individuals lived in these same homes that their parents bought in the 1950s and 60s. And again, this is all across Los Angeles. These black people lost these homes that their parents bought in the 1950s and 60s. Said Crystal Jackson Bradley, a Pacoima native and creator of a documentary and upcoming book about the community. Okay? Now I'm gonna move on because I don't want to go share this whole article with you. But look at these people. They live up under a freeway. This is a black homeless encampment in Pacoima. They all live under a freeway. Children, grown people, old people, everybody. Okay? Right. Okay? So I'm gonna move down to this because I'm gonna show you where all this went to. Okay? His family, he's talking about pure facts, his family helped form what became the center of African American life in the San Fernando Valley. It was thriving, especially for African American, pure facts said. My sister bought a Camaro. Everybody bought GM products. His stepfather, a tool and die man, lost an eye in an industrial accident, but refused a settlement offer and followed Lockheed Martin to Lancaster. Pure Facts said his sister took a buyout from General Motors, but the money only lasted so long, and soon she had to find another job. Okay? Now let me go down a little further, because I'm going to show you what happened to these people. Like I said, these people bought in from the 1970s to the 1990s and beyond. They have been importing nothing but millions of illegal aliens into Los Angeles County. The last count was 2 million. That will displace anybody. Okay? That could displace any native people there, especially the most vulnerable population. Pacoima's African American population dropped from 75% in the 1970s to 10% 20 years later, as Mexican immigrants, later joined by Salvadorians, and Guatemalans arrived. I'm going to read that again. Pacoima's African American population dropped from 75% in the 1970s to 10% 20 years later, as Mexican immigrants, later joined by Salvadorians and Guatemalans, arrived. Joe Louis Holmes and other tracts where black teachers, pastors, business people once lived are now primarily occupied by middle-class Latinos. That's who displaced black people. Okay? Now, I'm not talking about Latinos as a group or anything like that. I'm just going over an illustration of what happened to us. Okay? We got to be honest. If we're going to be honest, we're going to know what's happening. We got to be honest. Okay? And that happened all across California and all across Los Angeles. Many of these black cities, once black cities, like Compton and all these places, are now minority black. Now, let me start right here. I want to show you this article here. This is Oakland. The same thing happened there. Homeless encampment is torn down. Shantytown built under a train station in Oakland, which spanned several blocks and was home to 30 people, is dismantled by authorities who claim it as a safety hazard. Oakland was another one of these prosperous black communities. Oakland wasn't always bad. Oakland used to be very nice. It was home to a large middle-class black population. But this is what happened to Oakland. I'm just going to show you the pictures here, okay? Because I just read you the article, how they're tearing down the homeless encampment there. And next I'm going to show you the video of the large homeless encampment behind a Home Depot in Oakland. But these people just they're forcing these people to live. This is, I believe, under a BART station, a train station in Oakland. And they're just making these people leave. Try and go through this kind of fast. This is beautiful California. If you guys knew California 20 and 30 years ago, you would see how far it fell and the exact amount of damage that the Democrats have done to this beautiful place. California was beautiful. It breaks your heart watching this stuff. Look at this. It's the third world. If this doesn't look like Latin America, it looks worse than Latin America. Guatemala and these places don't look this bad. It's right on the freeway. People are driving right by it, right on the street. Okay. This is the homeless camp. This is the homeless Home Depot that I'm getting ready to show you some footage of. He's got some aerial footage of it from a drone, and I'm gonna show you how large it is. It's just unbelievable. And this will be the end of the video right here.
Well, howdy ho, good neighbor. Today, we're flying at the Home Depot homeless camp. This is the back of Home Depot, the street they're closing down. This is not the camp I'm referring to. This is Home Depot in Oakland, off of High Street. And I have flown here before. But I have flown today because it's back in the news. This homeless camp is America. Oakland, California, to be exact. It's just sad to see the state of the Bay Area and how many camps are just like this all over Oakland and all over the Bay Area, for that matter. With rent prices from $3,000 to $4,000, you can see why a lot of people choose to live this way. Choose is a harsh word because there is no option. You either choose to leave this area or you choose to live this way. Now it's come to my attention that this lot of land will be sold to Carl's Jr. and all these people will have to move. Unfortunately, there's another spot for them to go. They really need to address this problem in California. Because as you can see here, there is one porta potty for all these people. That's the only one I counted anyway. But these people are safe for now. The city of Oakland says they can stay because the city has no place to put them. Now in my day, it wasn't the city's responsibility for a place for you to stay. But in today's world, the responsibility lies on the city to deal with this problem. If you're grading this test, you can see they are failing with one bathroom for all these people. Just imagine the raw sewage that goes down the drainage pipes daily. Untreated feces and urine right down the sewer into the bay and into the ocean. This problem is never spoken about because it is a harsh reality of humans. What to do with their waste. For these people, it's buckets. And they throw the buckets next to the dumpsters. There's a man playing dice. So you can see life goes on here. People cooking and congregating because it is a community of people. just like your community. They have drug users and alcoholics and religious people. But 24-hour fitness and Home Depot and McDonald's have been rumored to move out of this area. What will all this land become if no one's around? You can see they congregate right in front of Home Depot, soliciting work for everybody that comes in and out. It is a unpleasant sight that I pass by every day. That is why I take these videos. I fear for myself in living in one of these camps. Where is our humanity to these people? Or is we give them too much humanity? Seems to me there is no answer. If you give them disability checks, they stay disabled. But a lot of them aren't disabled. You can see one man's working on top of his roof of his camper there. So a lot of these people are working. They're not all alcoholics and drug addicts. But we cannot deny that a majority are. I have heard you would have to stay numb to live in these conditions. And I find that not to be half true. I think you would have to find some kind of drug or alcohol to live like this, because it could not be easy. The sympathy from the public is wearing thin because we have a new term, not in my backyard. Crime has been going up here in the island of Alameda with porch pirates and hit and run accidents and burglarization of cars in the Home Depot parking lot. So with this camp comes crime. And you can see it's not easy to live for free, because living like this is not free. It costs money to be homeless, for sure. So people say that they don't work, but I disagree. They do work. They work to survive another day. This man just emptied his trash at the trash dump. That pile they pick up weekly. There's his security dog. Anyway, this is no way for people to live here in the so-called richest state in the country, California. And who says we're the richest nation in the world? It's hard to believe with all the debt we have. Look at that policeman. He has to patrol 24 hours at Home Depot parking lot. You didn't think he'd get into law enforcement to patrol a parking lot, but the city of Oakland is patrolling the Home Depot parking lot. Well, thanks again for flying with me and coming along. And I do appreciate all you guys watching and liking these videos. I know it's not comfortable, but it's something that needs to be seen. With that, I bid you adieu. Peace, love, and all that hippie jazz.
All right, people. That's what happened in California. Okay? Now, I do want to say this as I close out. I'm from California. This is my home state. And I could tell you this. Everything that you see happening in California, black people voted for it. We voted ourselves under these freeways. We followed a corrupt Democratic Party that imported millions of people into our state that's displaced us. And we're still voting with these people to this day. This is why you don't hear Maxine Waters and all these people complaining about the black homeless population in Los Angeles. Because they created it.